Hey, what's going on, everyone? As most of you know, I do work in healthcare, and I have been following the uh, murder of the CEO in New York last week. I see that they caught the guy, and I just wanted to pop on the news coverage for everyone since I know a lot of you don't have access to CNN. So, yeah, let's just tune in and see what they're saying.
Identifications, a lot of evidence that points to him being the suspect and the person wanted in connection with this shooting. And probably most damning was this two-page document that he had on him where he was, as you said, railing against the health insurance industry. Now, law enforcement officials, along with New York City Mayor Eric Adams, held a briefing earlier today, and I asked specifically about that document, and they said that there was no indication that he was intending to go after anybody else in the healthcare industry. But what was clear from that document was that he was very unhappy with corporate America. That's how Chief of Detectives Joe Kenny put it. Jim?
Yeah, I mean, these quotes, these parasites had it coming. Although he went on to say, I do apologize for any strife and trauma, but it had to be done. I mean, it had to be done. A murder on the streets of New York. Mark Morales, thanks so much. For more, I want to bring in Tom Verney. He's a retired NYPD detective and law enforcement consultant. Good to have you on, Tom. I mean, you know manhunts, involved in some yourself, I'm sure. Arrested in Pennsylvania, crime, of course, in New York, a connection to a possible bus route. But it seems here just good old-fashioned police work, getting those pictures out there, and someone in a McDonald's in Altoona sees him, thinks he recognizes him, and does that thing police are always saying, if you see something, say something.
Yeah, correct. Good to be with you, Jim. Listen, I had been saying this a couple days ago when I was on with Jake Tapper and a couple of others that the theory of him being a hitman didn't sit right with me from the beginning because a quote unquote professional hitman would have left so much evidence behind and would have really been a ghost. So you wouldn't have really seen even the face of this person if it was a professional. And I always leaned on the side of either a former employee with a grudge or someone with a grudge against the healthcare industry or this specific CEO. And that's what we wound up having here. So I'm not surprised really by the findings that we've discovered today. And it was good old fashioned, detective work, getting the pictures out there for people to see who we're looking for and really pleading for the help of the public to, if they saw something that was weird or unsettling or just not right, to tell somebody about it.
Clearly a profile. They're going to be attempting to build a broader profile here to get to motive and so on. I mean, you have those comments from the material captured with him. These parasites had it coming. You had those words on some of the shell casings found at the scene, like deny, possibly related to a denial from a healthcare service. And certainly they're going to be looking through his social media accounts, I imagine. Tell us how that will go forward and the importance of that.
Yeah, well, this is basically we're connecting the dots, right? Where, I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find someone who hasn't had some sort of strife with their insurance company, and present company included. And while I never believed that there was an immediate threat to the public safety or anyone staying at the Hilton, which this occurred next to, this was clearly a targeted attack from the beginning. But just by the fact that when the shooting occurred, there was someone standing within a few feet of the shooter that he didn't bother with, and someone in an SUV that he didn't bother with either. So, we were pretty sure that this was a targeted attack. However, you had someone running around with a gun who's clearly unhinged for the fact that they would commit a murder in broad daylight. So they were dangerous, right? So we had to get this person off the street. Now, the fact that this manifesto has, shown up with other evidence that they've collected at the scene of his arrest just kind of corroborates the fact that this person was having an issue with whether it be the healthcare industry and or maybe corporate America at large. So would he have stopped with just this one person? Would he have continued if he felt that he can get away with this one murder? And that was the concern. And that's not the way we're going to solve problems here by picking off CEOs or anyone else in these industries.
Yeah.
I was thinking of So I actually don't think that they would have continued killing other CEOs. I don't think that if he was going to do it, he would have done it already. That's just my opinion, though.
Being targeted. And I wonder, when you look at someone like this, I mean, the emotions involved here are not unique to him. And of course, this is a country with a lot of division right now. It's also a country where you can get guns pretty darn easily, including dose guns like the one he used here. Right. If you were advising folks in those positions, I mean, would you say that this is something law enforcement in the country has to be more aware of right now, a potential threat like this? It's almost a form of domestic terrorism.
Well, it is. It really is, because the use of violence to further a political objective really is a definition, at least the FBI's definition of terrorism, right? So this really is a form of terrorism. The fact that you can now create your own weapon by the use of a 3D printer is just horrifying. Yeah. Especially for those who feel like they can't get their hands on a weapon in the street.
I just want to point out that there have been 3D printing files for ghost guns for a number of years. This is not a new thing, and yeah, I mean, can't be surprised that these guys aren't reporting that correctly.
Problem is another issue. So this is something that politically is going to have to really be wrangled down to make sure we can get a handle on this ghost gun issue. And big Fortune 500 companies, really anyone who's part of a company where they're receiving threats of this nature, really should start to consider budgeting to have some sort of protection, external protection, especially if they're going to be attending a conference, as this CEO was trying to do, to try to fortify their safety.
Is there anything? I know the Biden administration took some steps to attempt to address the ghost gun problem. Is there anything that could truly be done, right, given the proliferation of this technology, 3D printers, et cetera?
Well, we've had this discussion over, when we've talked about school shootings and all kinds of mass shootings in the past, right?
I am someone who does rely on health insurance for
after Sandy
my
Hook
medications
took place in 2012,
we
had 20
medical devices,
first graders slaughtered in their classrooms.
I can understand
and half a dozen
how
teachers.
Emotions can
that to
run
me,
high.
I mean, not that these other mass shootings beforehand or since were any less important, of course.
My own health
but for some reason, for me, that was almost a line in the sand where
so I am out.
And this ghost gun thing hadn't even taken place yet. Some significant series of modifications to try to prevent something like this from happening, where you can now on the internet, create your own gun and do it with a 3D printer. Something has to be done about that. But this is not going to be the end unless something is done to curtail the ability of people obtaining these weapons, period. Whether it be over the internet, in the inner cities where gang violence is rampant, like Chicago, people are being picked off like it's for free. And no one seems to really care. And I just don't get it. And this was pervasive through the Obama administration, through the Biden administration, through the Trump administration. No one really seems to care. The body count is clearly not high enough yet. And for someone to really do something about it. And this will continue to happen.
Well, results of recent elections show that at least political means to change that, folks just aren't making that choice in numbers. And I hear you on Sandy Hook. I had the same reaction. Tom Verney, good to have you on as always. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Trump was shot himself, so hopefully that makes some kind of a difference in the administration coming in. I don't know.
We haven't seen it yet. Tom Verney, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Now to Syria. The sun has set in Damascus in the waning hours of the first full day of freedom in that country after 50 years of brutal.
Well, that looks like all they're going to say for now. I'm sure later on in the day they're going to have a whole big thing on it. I will keep monitoring this, and if I see anything new or if anything else pops up, I will keep you guys posted. Thanks for watching this quick video.